Hey man, how's it going?
Oh, not too bad. Just went to the Crossroads Market, got a burger with my dad, got
Cool, cool.
some sausage, some kibasas. So it's gonna be a good weekend of some good eating.
Fantastic, fantastic.
And it's nice
Uh,
out too.
it's much better this week than it was
Yeah.
last week, isn't it?
I saw a
Yeah, no,
couple
it's looking
guys in
really
shorts.
nice.
I was going, damn, I'm jealous.
Damn.
But
Your envy kicked in.
yeah, my envy kicked in, yeah. And
Sure.
so I had a little bit of a freak out moment, but it's all good. It's all good.
Great, yeah. Yeah, welcome back everyone to Bite My Shiny Metal Cast. Yeah, episode 5 of season 4, as it was on TV, Leela's Homeworld. Yeah, and if you're new to the channel, obviously, like and subscribe if you enjoy listening to people talk about Futurama, because we know we do,
Well, we
especially
like
the
to hear
old stuff.
ourselves. Yeah,
Especially, yeah,
we like to hear ourselves
yeah.
talk about it.
But I do enjoy. I also do enjoy reading theories and such. Like we've talked about
Oh
these on the
yeah, yeah,
channel as
yeah.
well, and I do
Uh,
enjoy just honestly rewatching all these episodes again. Like, man, it was only like a month and a bit ago that you and I did like the Hulu revival and everything, and Jesus, like how far they fell. How far they fell. Like,
well,
how many
yeah. What
episodes
was
in a
it?
row are these golden? Are these absolutely like just
This
very well
season,
written episodes? Like this is we're,
Roswell.
we're only on episode
That has
five.
lore. Yeah, we're on
Yeah, we're
episode
only on
five.
episode 5, and
Let me see.
like everything has been like 7
Wow.
or 8 at least, right? Like,
Two out of the first five of these episodes, the first one and this current
mm,
one, have
yeah,
huge lore implications and
yes,
consequences. I don't know if that's the right word, but yes,
yeah.
they
Pays
have.
off your continuity and your
Yes, exactly.
viewership and
Yes,
everything over the past
yes.
4 years.
And
Yeah,
that and
it's
that's
been,
just
yeah,
two out of the five so far.
that's true.
And
I know.
I
Yeah,
think this season has quite a few of them, don't they?
they do at least out of the 12 episodes that we'll do for
Nah,
the
just these
season.
two. Just these two.
These two, and then well, I think there's a few where we get more of like with the elements that are introduced in this episode. I think we get more of that. But yes,
Yeah, there's
it's
one
more.
where we see Amy's family. That's a little more lore, I guess, but it's not like
Yeah,
greater
nothing
lore,
crazy,
is what I would
nothing.
call it.
Yeah, nothing that builds up on the mystique of the show. But yeah,
Yeah,
any case, yeah, Leela's Homeworld. So the opening
but yeah,
caption.
these ones definitely have been knocking it out of the park this season so
Oh,
far. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
I would say the least one so far is the anthology one, and not because it was bad or anything, just because the other ones were that much better. Even the Tale of Two Santas, that still had some good stuff in it.
Still a very well made episode, just more
Yeah,
jokey, but it's still thorough, right? It's still a very
yeah.
well made episode. Yeah, I agree. But yeah, let's move on to the episode then. So it's the opening title caption. It's like hee haw with lasers. Um, Hee haw. I'm guessing is a game of some sort. I actually don't know what they're referencing with this. Do you know what this is a reference to?
No,
Okay.
I was thinking like cowboys going yeehaw, but then you're like it's hee haw, not yeehaw.
It's hee haw, yeah.
So
Hee haw with lasers. And it's like in quotation, so it's like a game or something, but it doesn't matter. Fun little
it could
joke, I'm
be. I
sure.
don't know.
Whoever gets it is one of those. What's that?
I thought it was like an old timey singing, like like in the saloons back in the way back in the day, they would have those call girl. No, I don't know what to
Um,
call call girls or show girls, and they would
sure.
sing. I swear there was something they would go hee haw or something like that. But
So this is
maybe
with
I'm over.
lasers.
Yeah, but with
You're probably
lasers, yeah.
overthinking this.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
maybe.
It's the only connection I have to hee haw, so I don't know.
Oh, okay. No, fair enough. Yeah, well, the opening of the episode, we go on to the Planet Express, the HQ, and most of the cat. Oh, I think everybody actually is in there, like minus Scruffy, but
Crew.
everybody else is in there. And Farnsworth and Leela enter the room, and the professor mentions, like, yeah, it's congratulations, like, good news, everyone, as he does. Leela's getting to be Orphan of the Year. So if everybody recalls,
Yeah.
Leela has been to this point, she has believed that she never had a home. She was an alien. Someone tried to take advantage of her in a previous episode because of this. Turned out it was false. And we have nobody would know
Elzar.
when the show was going on. Nobody would know that this episode was, or sorry, that Leela had any family or anything, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I also do like Amy's little thing. Your parents must be so proud. Orphan of the year. Oh wait.
oh, sorry, yeah. So
Uh,
that is a funny little joke of that. I like that too. So, in any case, not only does that get announced as good news, but also good news is that the professor has invented a machine that allows him to make glowing noses. Now, this machine in itself is not super important, or at least the nose producing part of it is not important, but it is kind of a funny little gag. But the main thing is that this machine creates a lot of toxic waste. So what happens is, as the machine is producing these noses or whatever else it does, it produces all this waste, and it needs to be rid of very, correctly, right, like safely. Now, the one who does so or tells him to do so is Hermes. So he says, like, okay, you have to get rid of this. Either pay the people $500 to get rid of it, or pay me as a bribe $500 or whatever. So then Bender tricks him into doing it for the same amount of money, and Bender gets rid of all the toxic waste basically by dumping it into the sewers. And we get a little cameo of Violet, one of the sewer mutants, who's, I guess, one of the only female ones that we ever really see, besides
besides Leela's family.
But yeah, she's the only one. She's usually talking in there and all that stuff. So she comes up in a wedding dress. Yeah.
We see a couple more.
Do we ever hear them
later
speak,
on
though?
Yeah.
Do we ever hear them speak?
In that one episode where the professor and all of them get super young, and Leela goes back to being a teenager, she does like race.
Oh, right, the teenagers one. The teenager ones. Yeah, that's
so
that's
like
true,
they are around and stuff like that.
There are, of course. Yeah.
It's
No,
just
there's tons of female mutants.
we already have established mutants from the one episode with Nibbler in the sewers. So
exactly. And all those guys return, which I'm happy about.
I wish I remembered their names, but they're just mutant with the long arms, mutant with the three
the giant
arms.
head.
Yeah, and Violet, that's the female, right?
Violet is the female one. And
the
only reason I
weird
remember
fish
that
scales, pig nose one.
Yeah.
She's getting married, and in the previous episode, Love and Rocket, we saw her with a 3-arm guy, but that never kind of like got like hinted at anywhere else that they were kind of getting married. So just I'm wondering.
Never really gets talked about. But that is true. They are together in that episode. So maybe that is kind of alluding to that.
Or she's just cheating on whoever she's with him. Ooh,
oh, maybe. But then she still got married anyway. Yeah, scandalous mutants. But in any case, the only reason I remember Violet's name is because you and I had to look it up one day when the Tale of Two Santas, I think it was, when she was talking about the Barbie or whatever, and I couldn't remember her name.
Unrealistic beauty standards. It's like
exactly.
It's Barbie. She's supposed to be the prettiest thing there is. So
exactly.
Deal with it if you aren't.
So we're reminded by this little cameo of her that mutants are not allowed on the surface. They're delegated to the sewers. They're second-class citizens because of their ugliness and all this kind of stuff. They're all still intelligent. They all still have like a working society. They're just not allowed to come to the surface. So in any case, we actually return to the Cookieville Orphanarium. Now, I checked. It's not Bender B. Rodriguez.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
they never changed it.
This is twice now. So maybe it was just that day. That day it was the Bender.
Or they realized that Bender's like a crook and they just changed it back.
I don't know. It's probably just they already had all like the signage and all the scenes made up for like, crap, no, we don't want to go back and change it. Oh well, no one will notice, but we did.
We did. Yeah, exactly.
Are we mad about it? A little bit.
So you're saying that in like a real world situation, they've created all this stuff. They just didn't want to redraw everything. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because this was actual physical backgrounds and stuff like that.
Right. And in universe, though, what would be their reasoning? Is they don't like Bender, or they got rid of Bender, they forgot, even though they did change it. Actually, they did have the signage for it. They did it literally in that episode.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, with backgrounds and stuff like that, they could have had like multiple different angles of the outside with the previous ones. Because like we've seen it 4 times now.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen it a few times now, so they probably have reuse, which is a huge thing in animation industry, which I hate because I don't know how many times I got told, oh yeah, reuse this run, and I reuse it, and like, oh, that's not right, you need to change it. It's like, well, you told me to reuse it, and now instead of taking 2 seconds to plug it in, it's now going to take me all day. Well, yeah, you need to fix it, but you told me to reuse it. It's just, right. I hate that stuff because it's like reuse is not reuse. It's just use it, but make it what it's supposed to do. So I hate stuff like that. But backgrounds are a little easier to use because it's just like, okay, we'll just change the angle slightly. Oh, we have this one that's slightly different. Oh, okay, we'll just go with that one instead. It's not a big deal. We don't have to pay the guy to redraw everything.
It's not as noticeable if they put it into the background or anything.
Yeah,
it's slightly different.
So if they just had like facing the doors like straight on rather than from like say like 20 feet to the left or 20 feet to the right,
sure,
they'd have to redraw those. Backgrounds are crazy. I hate angles. Like whenever you draw a city and stuff like that, I was never good at it. Yeah. And it's a different mindset altogether. And doing the stuff that I'm doing, I try and make my backgrounds as simple as possible, but then they look stupid Because like, how would you love to see like just a white wall the entire time? With like, oh, isn't this club amazing with just a white wall? Yeah, it's so amazing. Look at the background.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work that way. You need to draw everything, and it's just
It needs
so
to be,
much
yeah,
work.
it needs to bring you into the show, right? So
Especially if they're
that's
walking down a
that's fair.
corridor or something like that. It's just it's crazy. I have the utmost respect for the background artists because there's a lot that goes into them that you don't notice. But once you take them out, you're like, that looks pretty plain. And you're
Right.
like, yeah, it looks really bad. We need to add stuff. And then you're like, oh God.
Fair enough,
Oh,
yeah. Well, after they've returned to the Cookieville Orphanarium,
not the
the head warden, right? So
I love this guy.
I keep calling him a director, but he's like a warden, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like essentially a prison. But Vogel, yeah, and I like him too. He's pretty funny. So Vogel's in there. He's giving a speech to the orphanariums, including like a lot of Leela's friends and the other orphans who are living there currently. And he's talking about like when she arrived and how wonderful it was to meet her and all this stuff, because everybody's under the belief that she is indeed an alien, right? So we see a nice flashback about how that happened. And yeah, she has like the little, I think they call it alienese, right? Like there's a little letter on her that's pinned on there. It has like all these letters that was made up for the show. It's kind of cool. Like that is very lore building, because we see that language everywhere in the show if you pay attention.
Oh yeah. And there's a lot of fun facts about it. Like the viewers, us, not necessarily you and me, but they figured it out. And then the writers or people didn't like it, so they created a new one.
Right.
People were like, well, this is different.
You.
And eventually they figured it out. And I think they're just like, fine, you guys are smart. We'll just keep doing it.
We'll just keep doing it. It's all right.
Yeah.
So anyway, the warden then, as Leela's going to do her, acceptance speech for it and say thank you to everyone, the warden's also putting up a photo of her. And we see like a little collage of different orphan, quote unquote, famous.
There was like
orphans
four. There was four orphans.
Yeah. So it's like the guy who's always in the background, like he
often seen in the background
people.
of news, sports.
Yeah.
Then
and he shows up in this episode when she's getting her photo taken. I thought that was pretty funny. And there's a guy who's
flosser.
The flosser, the guy who's eating like all of the McDonald's burgers or something, or all the sandwiches.
And then there's a guy who successfully switched from heroin to methadone. So it's just like
right.
these are the
Leela's
bars.
up there. And she's like, what is it? A respected starship captain. yeah, these are the bars. So it's pretty funny. But in any case, Leela's very happy to, receive it and taken into account. She gives the inspiration about how it was wonderful that, she was raised here, and she does all this stuff, and she inspires the other orphans. And we see Albert again. And what's the other orphan that Susie or something? Or Cindy?
The now young one, right? Like the current one that's there.
Yes, in the orphan. Yeah.
Oh.
She had the eye patch. I'm trying to remember her name now, but I remember Albert
Susie
just because.
Cindy,
I just remember Albert because he was the one that Bender lifted up to weigh to see how heavy, so he could sell them to the restaurant. But in any case,
that's so bad. It's funny.
Yeah. So. Anyway, we flash forward to another time, and it's at nighttime, and Fry's walking down the hall of the Planet Express HQ, and we hear Leela crying. So Fry goes in to see what's going on, and
unless these are tears of happiness, please stop.
Yeah, it turns out that if with Leela, of course, if even though she gave this inspirational speech, it turns out she does not want to be an orphan. She's never wanted to be an orphan, or never made her strong. She's actually always secretly desired to be, secretly desired to have parents. And that's all she's ever wanted in life. And they go for a nice walk outside, and she's talking to Fry about this. And it's nice, heartfelt kind of thing. They're a bit of a joke about this. Like, she just wanted people to hold her and everything. And Fry takes that the wrong way, but whatever. Any case. I say camera, I know it's animation, but the camera angle of this scene panels up as she's talking about wanting to know her parents, as if she is indeed coming from the stars. But then it slowly goes down, and it reveals that she is indeed not from space. She's actually from Earth. She's Earthican. She's a mutant.
Doesn't reveal that at all. It just kind of implies it.
It reveals it. The two eyes are staring up at them as she's talking about wanting to know her parents. It obviously reveals it, but we don't know anything about them. So, next day, Bender is shown to have created a disposal company due to the fact that he got money from the professor and everything. So he's doing so again with remains of like
what's his business called?
Honest Bender's Disposal Service or something. It's very gangster-like.
Yeah, just Honest Bender. I love that part.
Mm-hmm. They always use honest. It always has to be honest in there. So Bender's like kicking down. I think he's kicking down a dead whale.
Yeah, because he said he was going to dispose something from Free Willy
Free Willy
3,
3.
which
1,000 years in the future. I don't know why.
I think there's been about four or five Free Willies.
Yeah, so
there's like the original two, which I think you and I grew up watching. There's a third one.
sure.
And I don't know which number this one was, but
There's probably spin-offs and like elements that are part of Free Willy, or they've redone Free Willy in some regard, but it's not.
I haven't looked it up, but I'm pretty sure that because the whole Blackfish documentary that came out a long time ago, everyone's been like, no more whales. But Steve Irwin's daughter, Bindi, she was in one of the Free Whale movies when she was like 10ish or something like that. And Beau Bridges, Jeff Bridges' other brother, was in it as well as like her grandpa or something like that. So just there's a little fun thing about that you didn't know. Steve Irwin's daughter did a Free Willy movie.
There you go. So as he's disposing of dead whale, he's just kicking it down the sewer. The ground around them starts to shoot up with this kind of toxic waste that the professor was getting rid of the first time, or Bender got rid of the first time, and it shoots up and then it kind of caves in, and then the mutants come up and basically steal it down right after Bender states that it doesn't matter what the mutants think because Leela's trying to protest it. It doesn't matter what the mutants think because they're underground, but they kidnap them, pull them underground, as well as his truck and everything. So the next scene we see them, the mutants have strung them up over this mutation lake, I'll call it, this glowing green lake that has basically turned it into a cesspool of being able to change your DNA. So you would become a mutant yourself. So what happens is the mutants...
Not a fun X-Men mutant. Not a fun
No,
X-Men.
like turn a rat into a weird pig/fish/bat hybrid thing as like in matter of seconds. It just completely rewrites your DNA into something hideous. This idea is a punishment, of course, of the mutants, because Bender's been doing this. It'll turn these three into mutants, so they'll be destined to stay down below as well. But
Bender says, I'm not human, so won't mutate me.
Yes.
We're just going to beat you up afterwards. Ah!
So Bender Bender at first doesn't care, but then he's at the threat of being beaten up. He starts squealing like a little girl again, right? So they're all terrified of the consequences for one reason or another, due to the fact that this is going to happen. So they're being lowered into this ooze. However, we see two hooded figures notice that Leela is up there, and after yelling her name, which Leela does hear, they go to the machine that's lowering them down and turn it off of the lake, thus saving them from being mutated. Okay. So the mutants don't really see that the figures did this in the first place, but they get angry at the trio for surviving or dealing with this situation without getting any mutations. So they chase after them, and we hear, which is important for the show, that this lake does not mutate mutants any further than they've already been mutated. Okay. So they chase after them by swimming through to catch up to them because they're on the other side of the lake. Now, the trio are running away.
The people chase them. They're all diving into the water. Did you see you were a lifeguard for a little bit there? What's that thing that's like that weird shape thing where people kind of use to kind of kick along the water?
Oh, the board? The flutter board?
Thank you, flutterboard. I like that the leg mutant kind of holds that in his mouth as he's kicking.
Yes.
It's just a fun little thing there.
Yeah,
because he has no arms.
He's just a leg. I do also like how they keep on like ragging on him throughout like the whole episode. Like, man, we're gonna be as bad as that guy.
Yeah, with everyone, like even like later episodes, like Leela, why don't you find a good husband? I mean, except for that guy. It's like, why?
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah. So
well, I think he's like best friends with oh crap, what's Leela's dad's name?
Oh, Morris. Yeah.
He's like good friends with him or something like that too. Yeah,
it is pretty funny. So anyway, the trio are being chased right by all these mutants, and they go into the sewer city. I do enjoy the scene of them being chased through it. Like you see all the billboards and like little parodies of like real world things, and they break into a house that just so happens is very coincidental. This probably changes the entire episode if they never broke into this specific house. But they see a bunch of Leela pictures and timeline things all scattered across.
Clippings.
Yeah, all scattered across the living room and all this stuff.
Things that people would get arrested for nowadays,
Yes, no, fair enough. So stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Because as Fry even points out, they're talking about scenes in episodes from the past that we've seen that actually dealt with like the big ball of garbage, Leela mentions about going to India, so she's actually kind of worldly in some form. She's actually traveled around. Mind you, it's easy to do so in the Futurama universe, but she's traveled around the world a little bit. And then there's like a little joke about them going to, because in sci-fi shows and all this stuff, they always have to put space before something, so space Mardi Gras. So they have like their little parties and everything. That was fun. But in any case, Leela and the three of them are all, correctly, they're freaking out a little bit, especially Leela, because
she's freaking out quite a bit.
Watching. Yeah, they're freaking out because the mutants are still hunting them. Leela's freaking out now because some mutant pervert apparently has been watching her in her entire life and is like strangely obsessed with her. So as they're trying to get Leela to move because she's frozen in fear from this, the mutants appear again and recapture them. Not a good escape, but this time.
And one of my favorite bits here is when the leg mutant kicks Fry.
Ow! Exactly. So this time, and this is the guy, the 3-armed guy, right? And again, we're forgetting his name, but he has one ear, but the 3 arms, right? Which makes it hard of hearing sometimes in other episodes. He is actually the leader, which we kind of establish, I think, in the one where Nibbler gets flushed down the toilet. I think that's kind of established because he's the one kind of in charge of everything. So he's saying that he's going to be, instead of tying them up and mutating them, he's going to kill them. He's going to torture them and kill them, essentially. He's going to have the death penalty. However, one more time, the hooded figures appear and whisper in his ear, and he makes a new call. He says, okay, fine. Instead of being killed, we're going to just exile you. You're no longer allowed to come to the sewers. To, Bender and Fry being, excited about this. Leela, however, very suspicious. Why the sudden change? And so they say, it doesn't matter. Let's just leave all this stuff. So they give him a balloon. The balloon is supposed to take them up, and it's made of. I do like this like mention of all these like little characters, like Underdog. Bart Simpson makes an appearance there, like his chin and his head or something.
Yeah,
John
old
from
parades
Garfield.
from like Thanksgiving and stuff. Did you
exactly.
ever watch those parades growing up or at any point?
I'm not a parade guy. No, but
also the Thanksgiving in America is later
it's a huge thing. Yeah, and it's also like one of the biggest holidays.
Yeah.
So also another thing as well is that, remember, in this universe, or at this time in this universe, they don't have parades all the time. They only have parade day.
Yeah.
Right, because parades happen every single day, right? Not
was it mentioned before this? Before this?
No, it was not. It's not. I'm alluding to something in the future with Zoidberg, but the parade,
right.
Which is supposed to be about all the parades being put together because of this. So all these balloons have essentially come from that day. That's what I'm going with in my head. But in any case, they set up the balloon with the 3 of them, and like the guard or whatever. It's kind of funny actually. The guard sends them up, puts a board on this ladder that's right on the ceiling of, or like the bottom of the road above them, or whatever it is. It's a large chasm, so there's like a huge amount of room. The balloon brings them all the way up. They're going to climb the ladder up. Bender goes up, then Fry. Leela, however, decides, nope. And she sees these hooded figures. She's like, no, I'm going to figure out what's going on because they know something about me or something about my life. So she closes the lid behind her, locks it, and she dives off the ladder back into the sewers. And of course, it's right above where the glowing lake is. So she falls, dives in. She pops up. There's like a little squid on her head or whatever to kind of give you the illusion she mutated a little bit. But it turns out, no mutation.
I
Leela
do love
is
that.
Completely fine. Yeah, she's actually a mutant. Yeah.
She questions like, why did it mutate me? I thought I was human. And then the octopus is like, I used to be a little girl from Virginia. Or something like that.
A little blonde girl from Virginia.
Little blonde girl
from yeah. And then she's like, ew. Yeah, that's pretty good.
So does that mean that octopuses are actually just mutated girls? Is that what they are?
In the sewers they are.
In the sewers they are.
Yeah. So, in any case, the figures appear behind them, behind her rather. So Leela turns around and yells at them and all this stuff, and then they start running away because they don't want them. They don't want her to find out who they are, and Leela, chases after them. Meanwhile, Fry goes back to the orphanarium, talks with Vogel, and he needs information about Leela's past that no one's really been talked about. The only thing he has is that letter that had alienese written on it. So he brings it back to the professor, who, because the professor's like the smartest person in the world. Nobody else can, according to Vogel, nobody else can translate this thing. So apparently the professor probably could. So he uses the machine that makes the noses. Apparently also has the side ability to also translate documents. Mind
Isn't
you, I
that
think
the
he
same
says
machine that also makes those boxes in a future episode?
it does many things. Why can't it do other things? Exactly. Yes. I think like his parabox, like
The
the
paradox one, yeah.
you know what? It might, or it's like slightly different, but you know what? In our minds, he could have just like
Headcanon.
reworked it a bit. Yeah, exactly. Whatever the case, it could very well be. It's this giant machine in his lab. Like it can't just disappear, right? So maybe he uses it for multiple things. But in any case, he puts it in there, and there's this fun little joke about, yeah, we'll put it in, but it could take like a couple of seconds. It could take 100 million years. We'll know when it dings, and then it keeps on dinging, but it's not like
Two
the correct
dings.
ding.
Yeah. Ding ding. No, that was too quick.
That was too quick.
It's slower. Ding ding. No, that was close, but
That's
not
too
quite.
slow, and yeah, right. So we cut back to Leela chasing after the figures, right? And as we do, um, she loses them for a little bit as they kind of make their way through it, all this stuff, and she's still trying to do this. I think Bender dumps some garbage on her and everything. It's just a little chase scene. However, the correct ding ding is heard as we cut back to Fry and the professor, and then as they are taking up the analyze note, we cut to a flashback where we actually do get to see the origins of Leela.
20-something years ago. So she's in her 20s.
She's in her 20s, which is the same as Fry. So this actually does confirm her age as well, which is kind of cool. So she is born a mutant, obviously. Her parents, Morris and Munda, and she is and you and I have talked about this before. I think we did this like on our predictions because we were thinking about what otherwise could have been, right?
Yeah, because she was supposed to be important for some reason, according to Nibbler.
No.
1,000 years in the past.
We only know that she is connected to Fry. We don't know if she's important to the history of the universe or if she's important to Fry for saving the world. We don't know anything, or the universe. However, we do know, based on this as well, as it's confirmed, she is the least mutated mutant of all time. The least. The only thing that is apparently different about her compared to a normal human is that her giant eye. Right.
And they do joke about other stuff in other episodes, like how she has a butt boil that sings. She has
the Comedy
elbow
Central
talons.
run. Yes, these are all in the Comedy Central run as well, so they kind of ignore this a little bit. But
and then there's also that episode where she just continues to mutate. That one episode.
That's also the Comedy Central run. Yeah. Yes, all of these episodes. So there's like 3 episodes. So the butt boil one, the one where she continues to do so, and then I think there's
a couple little jokes here and there of stuff that she does, but like again, those are just little jokes that we can kind of like throw away. Like what was that one? I think that was the second movie with the Beast with a Billion Backs, where she and Amy were running away, and like we're the last 2 normal people in society, and then like Leela's like, oh good, I don't have to shave my elbow talons anymore.
That's right.
Again, it was just a throwaway joke,
throwaway gag or whatever. Yes. So it's like, oh, is it so hard? Oh yeah, and she also like lay eggs or something. Yeah, that's in the Comedy Central.
So yeah, there's a couple throwaway jokes, but canonically, minus those couple jokes and those few things, which we could. I don't know.
Kind of throw away.
Yeah, do we want to dismiss them?
Maybe she's mutating more as she gets older as well, right? Which is actually kind of the whole thing. So, okay, you know what? We can actually still throw this. We can actually still throw this in the mindset of she's the least mutated mutant born. So at that time, she has the least amount of mutations. However, as she gets older, she starts to get more and more and more. So maybe if she had never known she was a mutant up until the point of the Comedy Central run, and we just saw her getting more things, and she's like, oh, I have elbow talons now. That's weird.
Those were before the Comedy Central runs, right? The 4 movies, right?
Yeah.
But also during that one episode, I don't remember what the name was, but Mom did fix her whatever mutation to go back to
Leela and the gene stock,
which also is like, why didn't we make her full human, like with 2 eyes and everything, or was that just too much of a change?
My answer to that is that because of another episode in the run,
We did it a while ago.
Have we done it? We have done, right?
Yeah.
Yes, with Adelaide. Thank you. Yeah. And because of the fact that she is proud of being different, I think that's why. The only reason she would have changed that. So that's what people know her as, is with the one eye. That's her. That's been her entire life. That's her identity. She would rather not change that. That's what I would say. However, you're right. Why not just completely take away all those mutations? But that's probably the reason. So, in any case. We continue on here, so we get this flashback and all this kind of stuff, and so her parents, selfishly, selflessly, like it's arguably both, but they want her to have a better life, but they can't do that in the sewers, right? As a mutant, so instead, her mother has a PhD, right? Because the mutants are just like humans, like they're very intelligent. She's a PhD.
In another episode, the Comedy Central, they do explain that they have like this huge society down there. They have a university, and
the university is called Brown University.
They all have to stay down there. They all have to stay down there.
Yes, and her mom's PhD is in exolinguistics or something, or like outer space,
which also makes me ask a question like how is that not like there's like a translator thing, where if she can learn it, there would obviously be some kind of translator thing where the professor would have programmed in there.
Maybe the mutant university is the only place that teaches it.
Again, you never know. It's just a kind of a question.
Right,
like obviously
if nobody can read
even
these
nowadays. Like someone had learned some ancient dialect or something like that. Like there's obviously some kind of way to translate it through a book somewhere, or did this person learn vocally through all the people who learned it, and there's no one ever shared it except for this person? There's just questions I have.
Where does it come from, right? Yes. So clearly she has, or maybe she's that good that she was able to figure out what these would mean, and that way nobody would ever be able to do it. She's that smart.
I like that one better, because Leela is a smart person, and she would obviously get it from her mother. Her dad's an idiot, but a lovable idiot.
Her dad's just a lovable guy. So he just wanted to surf, man. He just wanted to be a surf.
The sewers of the world, dude. Sorry, I called you dude, honey. or whatever it was.
Hey, no beer until you finish your tequila. I love her dad.
Yeah.
So, any case, after this flashback, right? So they the flashback reveals that they left her at the orphanarium to give her a better life. So after the flashback, Leela has confronted them and cornered them in their house, and she's taken the gun from one of the security guards that she knocked over, which is a bit of a funny scene.
I think that's my favorite joke.
That's one of the best scenes. So she's aiming the gun at them, and she's yelling at them, saying like who am I to you? Why do you have all these things? And then she sees, because her dad, which we did see in the flashback, her dad had made her a bracelet to signify that they're with her, kind of thing, even though they would never actually be able to see her. She sees the same bracelet, or a similar one, on her mom's tentacle arm or whatever. So she assumes the worst, thinking that these two mutants killed her parents and were obsessed with her entire life. So she's about to kill them, and they don't deny it. They would rather her think that she's an alien rather than have her know that she's a mutant and have to live the life of a mutant. So as she's about to kill them, wouldn't you know it, who's there to save the day? Fry, falling through the ceiling from Bender's disposal company.
Thanks, Bender.
With all these noses. So he goes in, he says, no, you can't kill them. Don't kill these people. It's like, why? They killed my parents. Like, no, close. They are your parents. And he reveals the older versions of Morris and Munda, who we get to see throughout the rest of the series, which is always wonderful. I love seeing these characters. They're pretty funny. So they are introduced to Leela as, who are your parents, and explain what happened, all this stuff. And instead of being like super angry that they abandoned her and did all this stuff, she's just happy to finally know where she comes from. And it leaves on a montage of watching Leela grow up from the orphanarium years when she's a baby to being a kid, doing her homework, walking down the street as a teenager on her birthday, and even as an adult, lying on her bed and having dreams and being cuddled by her dad as puts her thing through the vents or something.
Yeah, it's a very song too.
Very good song, very heartfelt moments, very beautiful thing. I think there's a lot of really nice things about that. And that's Leela's Homeworld. That's where the episode ends. So, yeah, your thoughts?
I like this episode. Like I said, it was a good.
Yeah, me too.
It made a lot of canon things fun and stuff like that. There's a couple of issues I have, because I forgot to do a little bit of research before. Let's just see on Reddit and things like that, just see what people had some thoughts on. But apparently there was a model issue or a character design issue, because we do see Leela's parents in the season 2 episode 5, where Bender flushed Nibbler down the toilet.
Yes, yeah, they show up just in the background. What's
her mother's name?
Yeah,
Munda. She actually, in that one, they're in the background, the far left, top left of the screen. She has human arms, so they changed her design. And
interesting.
The thing is, it could be headcanon that like, oh hey, these two have one eye and they kind of look like Leela. Why don't we make her their parents kind of thing, and she's actually that. That could have been decided after. It could have been decided before. I like to give the credit to the writers that they actually thought this through, and this maybe just changed her a little bit. Like yeah, she looks too human. Why wouldn't she be up there too? As a question. So let's give her tentacle arms. Oh, that makes more sense. Yes,
that's true.
It could have been a small decision like that. It could have been a mistake. Who knows? But
yes. And we also don't see this either. But later, except for Morris's one eye and his sideways mouth, he actually looks fairly. Oh no, he also has like 8 toes or something. But
10 toes or 20 toes on each foot.
Yeah, that could be hidden under his shoes or something.
Yeah.
But Munda actually has like hooves. Like goat feet, like hooves,
no,
as well as like
that her?
a
yeah,
tail.
She does. Yeah,
and a tail as well. So she's a lot more mutated than just her tentacles and everything, right? So there's a lot of differences between them, but I think that can also be added later. We never see her feet in this episode, but yeah, no. that's fair. I never really noticed that myself, but then again, I wasn't really looking. I saw them. I always see them there, and I'm like, oh, that's a good little idea. I'm pretty sure they thought that Leela was definitely going to be a mutant. And then, yes, they did kind of do that as like a little Easter egg, but they didn't design fully what her parents were going to look like specifically with their mutations.
Because they were just a background thing at that point, yeah. And they actually had talking and plot points and stuff like this, yeah.
And who 25 years ago,
2 seasons later, yeah.
Yeah, and who 25 years ago was going to go like, okay, I'm going to get my VHS tape and tape this one episode and then pause and look at every single mutant and see if they're like.
There's a lot of weird stuff, man. There's a lot of weird stuff that animators snuck in there because at the time, like VHS, you couldn't do frame by frame and you couldn't pause things because like you had that weird static lines across.
Static line, you couldn't see clearly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I remember DVDs, you could finally do that. And you're like, yes, I can finally see clearly. Like you pause on something and you can see it.
Yeah.
But no, that's
one of the famous ones is from the My Little Mermaid, how the priest has.
Sorry. My Little Mermaid? Do you mean My Little Pony or The Little Mermaid?
Oh my God, yes. The Little Mermaid. Sorry. The Little Mermaid. Sure. When Eric was going to marry Ursula or something like that, I can't remember. Okay. There was the priest or something like that, and because of the way it was designed, he's wearing his cloak, but it looks like he has something phallic out, kind of thing, or poking out like a tent, we'll say. But no, if you actually look at the later and stuff, it's actually his knobbly knees. It's just one knee poking out of the dress or whatever, looking really odd. Okay, people go, oh, there's something weird there. People won't notice. It's too late to redraw all that. It's a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. But because nowadays with DVDs and YouTube and all that stuff, you can frame by frame things. As a person who worked in the animation industry, a lot of those guys and women love to put in weird sexual things into cartoons. Well, it's like, hey guys, can we? I can assume
it's just kind of an inside.
Do that?
It's kind of an inside joke in their industry, right? Like you can get away with a lot of things inside of other jobs, but this is kind of just like a little fun thing. I mean, like you mentioned the Little Mermaid earlier, like that's also aren't there like towers or something? Like they're the castle under the sea, like Atlantis area. Isn't that supposed to be also very phallic?
Like, I think people are projecting on that one because I've seen it in like.
That's true.
It could be like that if you wanted it to be.
Sure. I always heard the excuse or the reasoning is that because these children are usually watching these with their parents as well, so it's something to give the parents something to like look for or something as they're watching these shows.
Stuff like that you could put in there. Like I think one of my favorite ones was the movie Robots because they wanted to get a kid and like, oh, I missed the delivery. Oh, no worries, honey. Making the baby is the most fun part. And like there's like an instruction manual like IKEA how to make a baby kind of thing. That's funny to me because like they actually made the baby out of parts, but also like boom. So that right there is a clever kind of innocent joke depending on your age.
Yeah, so but like that's true. There's also like just as one more thing, then we'll move on to our MVPs and whatnot. Yes. But in the Emperor's New Groove, also another Disney one, right? With Emperor's New Groove, although there's nothing wrong with the scene in itself. There's the scene where Kronk and Yzma are like camping out in the wilderness and like the forest, right, in the jungle, and all this stuff. And Kronk is having the dream about like seeing Pacha, right, and remembering who he is. But then the peasant who didn't pay his tab or whatever. So in that scene, right, because obviously we see that Yzma is like this corrupt and like loves everything, like she's rich and all this kind of stuff, so she's this magnificent tent. He's under this little small tent that happens to be over his waist, right? It's a little thing, it's just this tent. There's the term pitching the tent, which happens to be another euphemism
joke.
for. Right. So that's what that scene is. So that's
Yeah,
supposed to be a
yeah,
little joke
yeah.
for that. So that's like a little funny thing because no kid would ever know that.
Yeah,
But parents who might
that's
recognize
a phrase that kids shouldn't know, but
Right.
parents might know.
Exactly. So it's kind of a
that's
funny
another good
little.
one. That's another good
Yeah,
one
it's a
because you're just
little
like,
funny thing.
he's was
Yeah.
mean because she has the big tent and he has the little tent.
Yeah, exactly. And then the scene is pulled completely away because of Krunk's ridiculous like waking up and
Dream,
realizing. Yeah.
God,
So
I love that movie.
oh, I love that movie too. It's one of my favorite Disneys. So let's
Top
move on
5.
then to let's move on to MVP, favorite scene, favorite joke. So you and I
Oh.
just said like so the guard who comes out with the gun, he's like, I don't want to hurt you, and then she kicks him. He's like, I didn't want you to hurt me either. Like that's pretty up there. And she takes his gun.
Yeah, she takes his
Right.
gun. Yeah.
And that's why she's able to aim that gun at her parents. So anything else that kind of
Yes, I do also like when the warden is going, oh, what a beautiful eye, but as he says that, she punches,
or kicks him in the face or whatever.
Yeah. But you also hear it a second time when her parents left behind are kind of watching from the sewer, so that you also
to make
hear
sure
it
she
again.
gets in. Yeah.
And I love it because it's just like Leela was a little firecracker at that age too.
Yep. She was always wanting to
about her
kick
looks.
people. Yeah. I always enjoyed that too. It's a nice little character model or character building thing, right?
Yeah,
I just reminded myself like right at the beginning, when the professor announces that Leela is going to become Orphanarium of the Year or Orphan of the Year rather. And then he's like, oh yeah, I remember the Orphanarium. And Fry says like, yeah, we always talk about it. And she's like, really? He's like, no, burn. And then they high five. And the professor goes, nice work, fella.
Yeah.
I thought that's I don't know why, but I think that's just like, well done, fellow. Congratulates them on their joke. How about a favorite scene? I do, like I said before, I really enjoy when they're running through Sewer City or whatever the mutant city is called. Like I really enjoy them going through that and seeing all those different billboards and
I do
the
too.
homes and like
I do like how they just have
it's really
Starbucks
world
there.
building.
It's not any different. It's just Starbucks. Because I guess at that point everyone says like, yeah, it's trash. And that was 20 years ago. Now it's like, yeah, it's still trash.
Or that Starbucks is so popular you can just make fun of it and it doesn't matter, right? It's one of the bigger names. Yeah. So exactly. I think that's another one too. Is that Starbucks is so popular that even the mutants have one. I think that's also the joke too. So, no, I like that. How about you? Any scenes that kind of stand out?
No, nothing really that I was like, oh yeah, I love that scene. No, I do like the kind of the one where she's swimming out and getting out of the toxic waste and the octopus is over her head.
Is there. Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, she got transmuted, and then like, oh, what's this octopus doing on my head?
Yeah.
I used to be
Even though we saw her parents
Virginia.
earlier and mutants, but whatever. Yeah, that's true. How about your MVP then?
Oh, it'd probably have to be Leela for this episode because she was the main focus, and we also learned more about her. It's pretty good. I would say that the runner-up would be Fry because he was the one that kind of like, Leela, look at this.
Yeah, I'm actually choosing Fry. And my reasoning, so he is the one that consoles her at that time, right? He's the one that talks to her, kind of gets it all going, and he's the one that actually saves her parents in the end.
Oh, because of him. We forgot to mention that the professor didn't translate the alienese. It just said that the paper that it was on was toilet paper.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because she's like, well, what does it say? Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But then because Munda is, has a PhD in it, she's able to translate it for them and everything. Yes. Yeah. That is quite sweet, actually. It says like your parents love you and always will love you. This kind of thing. That's right. I forgot to mention. Cool. All right. Anything else to add about Leela's Homeworld?
No, it's a good episode. Lore building for the characters. Mm-hmm. It was pretty awesome. Yeah. Is this the first time we see that Leela take off that wrist thing?
No, because we've joked about it was the one with the machines, Mother's Day. I think it was. Remember,
right.
Pops up. It's like, watch your wrist. Yeah, and
because it's still a part of her character design that I just always forget about it. Yeah.
No, she always has it, except for like these two instances or a few instances. Yeah, but great. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, man. It's nice to talk with you about this one. The episode's really good. I really enjoyed this one myself. 8 out of 10 at least. Very lore building, funny jokes, a lot of good things about it. But yeah, I guess we'll see then everybody next time for episode 6, Where the Buggalo Roam. Again, not more lore building, but nothing like crazy world building.
It's not the main three. It's just about Amy's parents.
We get to learn more about
a whole planet, so
everything. Yeah. Yes. Or the Western Hemisphere, right? They own the Western Hemisphere of the planet, right?
The best hemisphere.
The best hemisphere. Yes, and we get to hear more of Leo Wong again, the real Leo Wong.
Yeah,
So that'll be
legit.
fun to hear that. Yeah. But in any case, yeah, thanks again, man. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, we'll see. Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.